We continue now at the top of Daf Peyalef Beis in Meseches Bava Metzia. This is Bava Metzia Daf 81b. On the previous summit, the Gemara brought a story in which some people from a group were watching a cloak for someone and then it got stolen. And the Gemara is in the middle of revising the story that what actually happened was the person who owned the cloak, he was baking. It was not really his day to bake for the group, but he was doing it essentially as a payment to them, and they would be shomrei sachar, they would be paid watchmen over the cloak. And then in the revised version, ada'asa igniv. So then by the time he came back to get the cloak, it was stolen. Now in the first version of the story, it was stolen, but it was through their negligence. In this case, it was actually just stolen. There was no negligence, Rashi explains. Ada'asa igniv below pshia, by the time he came, it was stolen, there was no negligence. V'chayvinu misham geneva de shomer sachar. And Rav Papa is going to say that they're chayiv to pay because it was stolen, but they're considered shomer sachar. Also, l'kamei de Rav Papa, they came before Rav Papa chayvinu, he said that they're chayiv to pay. And so in this version of the story, similar to the one in the previous summit, Amru le Rabbanan le Rav Papa, the Rabbanan said to Rav Papa, Hashmira b'bailami. Isn't this a case of Shmira b'bailam? Yes, they're watching over it in their shomer sachar, but he's working for them, therefore it's Shmira b'bailam, and there should be an exemption. And in this case, there's no negligence, so there certainly should be that exemption. So Ichsif, so he was embarrassed that he ruled incorrectly, but Lesof, but in the end, the Gloi Milsa was revealed, that at that time he actually was not working for them, he was drinking beer, and so therefore you don't have that exemption, therefore they are indeed chayiv to pay for the cloak. And the Gemara continues, Hanu beitrei dehavakam mazku beorcha. There were two people, and they were walking on the road, chad orich v'chad gotza. One of them was tall, one of them was short. Aricha rachiv chamer, the taller person was riding a donkey, v'havale sadina, and he had a sheet. Rashi says, sadina shel pishna, was made of linen. V'ein mayim machbidino so kalkach, it doesn't get so heavy in the water. That's going to be the point of the story. So that's the person who was riding the donkey. And gutza, the shorter person, michsi sarbala, he was wearing a cloak or a coat. Rashi says, sarbala glufkarasha korin coats v'hushal tzemer. The point is, it's made out of wool. V'harbe mayim nivloin bo, it absorbs a lot of water. Umachbidino, so it becomes heavy. And that's why he wanted to take off the coat when they got to the water. Instead, he wanted to wear the sheet. And so again, the shorter person was wearing the sarbala, this coat, this cloak, v'kamaski bekare, and he was walking on foot, meaning to say he wasn't on the donkey. Kimatul in Hara, when they got to a river, shakle l'sarbali, so he took off the cloak. V'yosve lavechamer, he wanted to put it on the donkey so it wouldn't get wet. V'shakle l'sadine, and he took v'shakle l'sadine dahu, and he took the other person's, the taller person's sheet. V'echsi be, he covered himself with that. And then shatfu amay l'sadine, it turned out that the water swept away the sheet. Essentially, it was lost. And so the question is, did this person who was walking, did he have to pay for the sheet? Also, l'kamei de Rava, he came before Rava chayve, said, you're obligated to pay. Amru le Rabbanan l'Rava, the Rabbanan said to Rava, Amai, why is he chayav to pay? She'ela b'bailam, he was borrowing it over here, he's considered to be a shoel. Now, normally a shoel is chayav even for onsim, but over here, the owner was working for him because the owner was taking care of his garment. And so Ichsif, he was embarrassed that he ruled incorrectly, but in the end, the Gloi Milsa was revealed to velo daite shakli, velo daite yosve, that he did this without the knowledge. He took the sheet from the person on the donkey without his knowledge, and he placed his garment on the donkey without his knowledge. Essentially, he was a thief in this situation, so he certainly was responsible. And the Gemara continues, how Gavra Doger lechamer lechaver, there was a person who rented a donkey to his friend. Amar le said to him, Chazi, see, lo sezel bo'orcha de nahar pakod. He told him, look, don't go on the road that's by the river Pakod. The ikomai, because there's water over there, it's likely that the donkey is going to drown. Rather, zil bo'orcha de nerish. It's better that you go on the path by nerish, the lekamaya, where there is no water. So Azal Borcha the Nahar Pakod. In the end, the renter went by the path by the river Pakod, Umischamer, and the donkey did die. He also, when he came, Omar, he said, yes, Biorcha de Nahar Pakod Azli, I did go by the way of Nahar Pakod. Umiu lekamai, but nevertheless there was no water over there. That's not why the donkey died. I should not be responsible. Amar le Rava said to him, Mali l'shaker, why did he have to lie? Meaning to say there's a reason to believe him that there's no water over there, because if he wanted, he could have said to him, Ana Biorcha de Nerish Azli, that I went on the road by Nerish. In other words, the renter could have just lied and said he took the other path. Instead, he said that he went by Nahar Pakod, but he's saying there was no water there, so we should believe him that there was no water there. The Gemara says, Amar le Abaya said to him, Mali l'shaker b'makom eidim lo amrin. We don't say Mali l'shaker in a situation of witnesses. What we mean is, Abaya means to say that we know there's water by the river by Nahar Pakod, and so therefore it's as if we have witnesses telling us that, and the fact that this person wants to use this migo essentially and say, well, I could have said something something else, therefore believe me. We don't believe him if it goes against witnesses, or in this case, what is common knowledge, that there's water over there. And Rashi explains, b'makom eidim, when you have witnesses, because it's like an anon sahadi. We know that road certainly has water, and so therefore we assume that there is water. We don't say that we believe this individual. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. The Mishnah said, Shmor li, if the person says, watch this for me, v'yamar lo, and the second individual says to him, Hanach lefanai, place it before me, shomer chinam, he then has the status of a shomer chinam, an unpaid watchman. And the Gemara says, Amar Rav Huna says, Amar lo hanach lefanecha. If the second individual says to him, place it in front of you, Eino lo shomer chinam v'lo shomer sachar, then he's not a shomer chinam or a shomer sachar. Essentially, if he says that, he's not accepting any responsibility. The Gemara says, they have the following question, Hanach stamamai. What if he just says, place it? What's the halacha then? Is he considered to be a shomer? The Gemara says, Tashma, come and hear the following proof. Shemor li, v'yamar lo hanach l'fanai. It said in our Mishnah, if he says, watch it for me, he says, place it before me, shomer chinam, then he's a shomer chinam. That would imply, hastama, if he said nothing, if he just said, place it, v'lo klum, then he's nothing, he's not a shomer at all. The Gemara says, Adarab, on the contrary, mido amar Rav Huna, from the fact that Rav Huna said above, Hanach lefanecha hu de'eno lo shomer chinam v'lo shomer sachar. If he says, place it before you, he's not a shomer chinam or shomer sachar. Hastama shomer chinam, however, we can infer that if he just said, place it stam, so then he would be a shomer chinam. And so the Gemara says, Ela meholek alamashma, rather we can't understand, we can't derive anything rather from these statements. And the Gemara continues, Leima ketanoi, let us suggest that this issue is a machlokas tanoim. It says in Babba hichnes b'reshus bal hachotzer. If the person enters, he brings in his item or his animal with the permission of the owner of the courtyard. So chayiv. So then the owner of the courtyard is going to be chayiv. Rebbe says, "B'kula meino chayiv." In all these cases, he's not chayiv. Al sheyikabel all of balabayas lishmor, unless the balabayas actually says that he's taking responsibility to watch the item. Meaning to say, according to the Tanakama, as long as the Baal Chotzer gives rishus for the person to enter, the Baal Chotzer is taking responsibility. It sounds like stam, he's taking responsibility. According to Rebbe, no, he has to actually say that he's watching it, actively say that he's taking responsibility to watch over it. Otherwise, he is not taking responsibility. But the Gemara continues, Mimai, how do you know that's the machlokas tanoim in this Mishnah? Dilma adkan lo ka'amri rabbanon hasa. Maybe the rabbanon only said over there, Ela b'chotzer debas naturahi. We're talking there where it's being brought into a chotzer, which is a protected area. V'chi ka'amar le ayil de interloch ka'amar le. So when he says, come inside, meaning he's giving permission, what he's really saying is, I'm giving permission for you to come inside, and I'm going to watch it for you. Aval hacha, but over here, shuka lav bar naturehu. Here where you're talking about out in the open marketplace, it's not a protected area. Anach v'tiv natar loch. So he's saying you should place it down and you should watch it in this situation. Inami, or you could say, Adkan lo kamar Rebbe Hasam. Rebbe only said over there in the Mishnah, Rebbe said he's not going to be considered a shomer. Ela b'chatzer, that's only when it's in his own chatzer. Dili'iyule reshusa kaboy lemishkal minei, that in order to enter someone else's chatzer, you need to get permission. So that's what he's giving permission. V'chiyoyev le reshusa, when he gives permission, liyule tiv v'notar lach kamar le, he's saying come inside and you have to watch over it. That's what he's saying to him. Aval but over here, hanach v'anam min tarna kamar le. Here he must be saying, place it down and I will watch it. Because if you think he's saying out in the marketplace, put it down and you watch over it, just to do that, you need to get permission. It's in the public area. He doesn't need to get permission from this person to place it down. So there, when he says place it down, the implication is that he wants to watch over it, and therefore the machlokas tanoim in the Mishnah Bava Kama might have nothing to do with the situation out in the open marketplace. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. The Mishnah said, Hilveyu ala mashkan shomer sachar. If he lends him money on collateral, so then he's a shomer sachar, meaning he's a shomer sachar. The lender is a shomer sachar when watching over that collateral. And the Gemara says, Lema mas nisan de lo Rabbi Eliezer. Let's say that our Mishnah is not like Rabbi Eliezer. The Tanya, as we learned in a Braisa, Hamalves chaver ala mashkan. If somebody lends his friend money and he takes collateral, v'yavad hamashkan, and the mashkan is lost, Yishava, he takes an oath that he was not negligent. V'yitol mosav, and he's able to collect his money, meaning to say the lender can collect the money that is owed to him. Divrei Rabbi Eliezer. That's the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer. You see, according to Rabbi Eliezer, he's essentially a shomer chinam. That's why he's only responsible for negligence. As long as he takes a shua that he was not negligent, he's not going to be responsible. That does not seem like our Mishnah, which says that the lender is a shomer sachar on the collateral. Rabbi Kiva says, Yochol lo marlo, he can say to him, Klum hil visani el ala mashkon. The whole loan was on this collateral. Avad hamashkon avdu mosech. If you lost the collateral, then you lost your money. And Rashi explains, Yishava, this is within Rabbi Eliezer, Shalo Pasha, he takes an oath that he was not negligent, to Shomer Chinam Hu Olav, because according to Rabbi Eliezer, he's a Shomer Chinam on the collateral. De'ein Adam Notel Mashkonu Leguvayna, because a person is not taking the collateral for collection purposes, according to Rabbi Eliezer, Ela Lios Batuach B'Ma'osav, rather it's a way of being secure that he's going to be able to collect his money. Essentially, it's evidence that he's owed money. Shalo Yuchal Lichfor. In this way, the borrower is not able to deny it. Uliolam Shomer Chinam Hu Olav, but he's really just a Shomer Chinam. Shem Avad Yigve Mimakam Acher, that if it's lost, he collects from a different area. He's going to collect from something else. Meaning to say, he's not really taking this collateral, and this collateral is the payment. And if the collateral is lost, therefore he won't be able to collect. No, it's just essentially serves as evidence. He's a Shomer Chinam over the collateral, but he's really going to collect from the borrower. That's why the Gemara suggests that our Mishnah seems not like Rabbi Eliezer. And the Brisa continues, Aval Hilveyu Elef Zuz Bishtar. Let's say he lends 1,000 zuz to him with a document. So now the document is what's serving as evidence. V'hiniach lo mashkan aleim, and he takes a collateral. So there he's certainly taking the collateral for collection purposes. So Divrei HaKol, everybody agrees, Avad HaMashkan, if he loses the collateral, Avdu Ma'osav, he loses the money as well. Essentially, in that situation, everybody agrees that he is responsible if he loses the collateral. And Rashi explains, Aval Hilveyu Elef Zuz Bishtar, if he lends him 1,000 zuz with a document, V'hiniach lo mashkan aleim, and he takes the collateral for it, Divrei HaKol Avdu Ma'osav, everybody agrees that he loses his money if he loses the collateral. To HaMashkon Vade Leguvayna Shakal. The point is, in that case, he is certainly taking the collateral for collection purposes. Ligvos Heimeni, he's going to collect essentially using the collateral. The collateral is the collection of the debt. And Rashi continues, the stam shtar yeshbo shivat karkos, because in general a shtar has a lien on the property, so he has where to collect from. V'yesh lo mehechon ligvos, he has from where to collect from. Uvatuachu, and he's certainly secure that he'll be able to collect. V'gam lichfor eino yachol, and the borrower can't deny it to koi shtar because there's a document. Hilkach lav lezichron devarim nakte. Therefore, he's not taking the collateral to remember, so to speak, that there's a debt. It must be that the collateral is being taken for collection purposes. That's why if he loses the collateral, he will not be able to collect the debt. Essentially, he's responsible if it gets lost. He's treated as a shomer sacher. And the Gemara continues, Afilu Tamer Rabbi Eliezer, you can even say that our Mishnah is Rabbi Eliezer, even though Rabbi Eliezer is treating him like a Shomer Chinam, and our Mishnah says Shomer Sacher. V'lo kash, it's not difficult. Kan shem moshkeno b'shas halvaso. In one case, the mashkon was taken at the time of the loan, and kan shem moshkeno shelo b'shas halvaso. In the other case, the mashkon was taken not at the time of the loan. And Rashi explains, kan shem moshkeno b'shas halvaso. If he took the mashkon at the time of the loan, kam Rabbi Eliezer Shomer Chinam, then Rabbi Eliezer would say he's a Shomer Chinam. And the Mishnah, which says he's like a shomer sacher, that's when he takes the mashkon not at the time of the loan. What happens is, after some time, when he's claiming his money in the court, and the borrower is not paying, and then Bezin says you can take the collateral. In that case, certainly he's taking it for collection purposes. That's how Rabbi Eliezer will make the distinction, and that's what the Mishnah is talking about. The Mishnah is talking about when he takes it, not at the time of the loan. But the Gemara continues, Va'idi, but in both cases, and we will continue with this discussion in the next video, on Daf Pei Beis Amud Aleph.